Peter James Johnson went missing from near the Mackay area in Queensland, Australia on the 17th of April 2003. Mr. Johnson was last seen standing beside his vehicle, a green Ford utility with the Queensland registration number 522EZX on the Suttor Development Rd near Lake Elphinstone, north of Nebo, at 10:40am. His vehicle was later found abandoned 1 kilometre north of Boundary Creek Bridge on the Peak Downs Highway, 16 kilometres north of Nebo, Mackay, at approximately 7:30pm on Thursday the 17th of April 2003. Peter Johnson's vehicle was later found locked and abandoned. He was 36 at the time of his disappearance and working at the Newlands mine in Glendon at the time. Mr. Johnson's family consulted 2 psychics about the whereabouts of their son, both concluding that he is in fact deceased. In 2004, Sydney clairvoyant Debbie Malone sensed that Peter is deceased and that he has been murdered by a group of 4 men. Malone claims that Johnson was bashed by the men at the back of a hotel. Ms. Malone went into quite some detail about what she sensed about Peter's death. She described one of the men involved as a pig shooter who owned a white 4-wheel drive ute with spotlights. She also claimed the men were well known and disliked in the area. In relation to the murder, she claims that Peter was, quote, wrapped in something, end quote, put in the back of his utility and taken to a shed before his utility was driven to the side of the road and abandoned where it was later located. The psychic sensed that Peter's body was disposed of in a mine shaft somewhere in central Queensland. The second psychic consulted by Peter's sister in Melbourne sensed very similar circumstances surrounding Peter's disappearance. Peter's family had suspicions that he had met with foul play prior to consulting the psychics. They recalled Peter receiving several suspicious phone calls shortly prior to his disappearance. In June 2003, a friend of Peter's told the family that Peter had expressed concern that someone was, quote, out to get him, end quote, in the weeks before he disappeared. Peter had said that during a phone call to his friend, quote, I'm going to the west if I can keep away from the arsehole who's after me, end quote. Peter James Johnson remains missing until this day.